of you guys coming on in wherever you guys are joining me at. Today, I have a very special guest with me, none other than the Chief Editing Officer and in-ring voice of C1W, Mr. Jared Boatfield. Thank you first and foremost for taking the time out of your day to be here. So a lot has happened in the course of 2 months in C1W, now branded the Kevin Show, the KVN Show. With the new staff hires, old staff hires, and a ton of new faces in, ring, and out, what do you think by far is your favorite new hire and addition to the C1W family?
That's a great question. I mean, we've had so many people come into the fold. I would have to say one of the standouts for me, we just saw his debut this past Saturday, but Alex Stevens. That kid, man, like I've watched him bust his butt in training and really put in the work, and to see that pay off for him as it did on Saturday. He didn't get the win, but he put on a performance that I don't think anybody's going to forget.
I think one of my personal favorites that we've had come in and been with us recently is Brando Bennett, Big Money Brando. He's just high flying. He's exciting. He's fun to watch. He has a lot of good stuff going for him in, ring, and out. And he had a heck of a match with the Rabid Reject, Adrian Ace, this past Saturday. So I'm with you, but I think that's one of my favorite additions that they've added to the show. And I hope to see him come back and be a part of it more often. That's one of the great things about wrestling is we definitely get a variety of people to come in and outside of the shows. With the absence of one Kevin at the show, who would you like to see step up and out of the shadows to not only necessarily take his place, but to help do the job that he did?
Well, it's not so much that Kevin is absent. He is very much there. But he prefers to watch from the shadows.
Well, if and when he returns full time, do you think that there will be hell to pay for the time that he was in the back in the shadows, as you said?
I think there's going to be hell to pay, but I don't think it's going to be for Kevin, unfortunately. I think that as the shows have been progressing, and I'm sure you've noticed it, he's pulling a lot of strings. He's letting a lot of things happen, and he's making a lot of things happen. I mean, who do we think knocked the ladder out from under Xavier Gray while he was cleaning the gutters? Come on.
Well, not only that, but with the recent debacle that we saw with Dalton Blake, I guess they're going to be giving him a brand new title. What do you have to say about that, sir?
It's just business as usual. I mean, Dalton Blake and Kevin have been in bed since Dalton sold Kevin the company.
He sold his soul to him, it seems like.
I think you're 100% right. Dalton and Reed and Kevin, I mean, those three, they're tight. I see it in the back. They're always chatting each other up, scheming. It's an unholy alliance in the truest sense of the word.
Let's talk about some in and around the ring performers, the Garden of Eden specifically. We have seen in recent weeks the abuse you have taken at the hands of the Garden of Eden, the words of this faction. We have also seen you hire in some muscle to ensure that doesn't happen again. But I'm no Steiner mathematician here, but 2 is still far greater than is far less, not far greater, sorry, far less than 4. And the family, if they really wanted to, could have both you and your bodyguard pay. How will you deal with this if it escalates to that point?
Well, my bodyguard, the Collector, he's not so much my bodyguard. He's my good, close personal friend who also happens to take payments to be an enforcer from time to time. Now, we haven't seen the Collector back at C1W, and the reason for that is, from what I understand, somebody put out a restraining order against him.
Really?
Don't know who that is. Of course, they're not going to let me in on that information, but it precludes him from being within 500 feet of the C1W building on the day of the show.
So is that what took place at the end of the show last week? As we saw the Garden of Eden basically come in and have their way with you. Let's just call it like that. And because of that, because of the restraining order, they were able to get their hands on you in such a way that it cost you some pain. Would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, I've got a lot to say, specifically about one Cameron Cox. I'm going to save some of that for a better time, but what I can tell you is my partner, my girlfriend, she did take me directly to the ER after the show. Well, technically during the show. The doctor confirmed that I definitely have a concussion, low grade, and I have bruised ribs. He said if I was a smaller guy, I would have had broken ribs. If you have a 357-pound man fall on you with all of his weight, it's a miracle that my ribs aren't broken. It's a miracle that I didn't collapse a lung, to be honest with you. But even though I would say I got out lucky, I'm in a tremendous amount of pain. I had to leave work early on Monday because I had a migraine so bad that I couldn't see straight.
Well, we know a man who has a vendetta against the Garden of Eden, the sawed-off man, the Pied Piper, and the killer beside you, and he is ruthless, a complete destroyer in the ring. When he has his head on straight, Robert Blade could be the very one to avenge you. In such a case, not only him, but the enemies of the family has made also recently, Draven Lee, John Bishop. Surely somebody is looking for vengeance to help you out as well. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Oh, I mean, there is a laundry list of people who have a problem with the Garden of Eden. And that's why I'm not too upset about what happened to me. Because I know they have theirs coming, whether it's in the form of ruthless Robert Blade, whether it's in the form of Juicy John Bishop, whether it's in the form of AMJ. They don't have a lot of friends in that locker room. And even beyond the locker room, they have people that are not the biggest fans of them. I would say that what they have coming to them is going to come from a lot of different angles. And so I'm not too worried about whether or not they're going to get theirs. Right now, I'm just worried about recovering.
Well, I'm not sure if you watched it, but August 8th, Christopher Battle came on our show, and he was talking about the Garden of Eden a little bit. Now, Battle, like you, seems to have a special interest in keeping the Garden of Eden out of the title picture. How do you think he can accomplish this while defending that title each and every show, and also having what has come from nowhere with Dalton Blake to him?
I think Christopher Battle needs to focus on Dalton Blake. I love Christopher Battle, but he's dealing with a madman in Dalton Blake. He doesn't need 3 more madmen to deal with.
Right.
That being said, if he would be willing to come to my aid, I'm not going to tell him no. But personally, I mean, I would be concerned about the guy that just caved your head in with a chair.
I mean, that would be a definite person to watch, especially because, so for those of you watching that don't know, that happened 2 weeks ago. You can catch it on the Championship One Facebook page, aka the Kevin Wrestling page. Now you can go back and rewatch that. It's about halfway down the page. If you scroll down, you can catch Dalton Blake coming out. He's dressed up in a costume, and he just demolishes him in the head with a chair. And you can catch all that action right there on Championship One Wrestling. Sometimes unlikely forces seem to come together, Mr. Jared, in professional wrestling, and the oddest of couples of all seem to grace us with Tennessee Hayes. You know, just like I do, Ray still doesn't play nice with others. Matter of fact, he's been a lone wolf, especially since the Dalton Blake stuff that took place with the Stud Buds. Why do you think he hasn't turned his back and snuffed out Rodney Hayes like the lone wolf he is?
Well, from what I understand, Ray Steele is on an indefinite hiatus. From C1W.
Really?
Yes, I don't know the reasons behind that or anything, nor is it any of my business. But as far as that team goes, I definitely think something was coming there. I don't know who was going to turn on who. I don't know what, but the tension there I felt was pretty palpable. Well, I think they looked at each other and they saw one another as the weak link of the team, and that kind of animosity is not conducive to teamwork.
Well, I absolutely agree, and I think it was just only a matter of time before it became dog eat dog inside that faction. I can't speak personally. I did not know. So I'm going to apologize to the viewers because I did not know that he was on a personal hiatus from Championship One Wrestling or the KVN Wrestling show. But I do know that it was only going to be a matter of time before that blew up, and it was not going to be a good thing at all to look back upon. Well, speaking of odd couples, Dalton Blake and his manager, the Ravishing Reed. What are your thoughts on them?
I love Reed. Let me just put this out there. I love Reed. I just think he is a fundamentally funny individual. I could do without Dalton Blake. And I think I mean, you were at the show on Saturday, I believe.
Yes, sir.
You heard the contrast in the reactions for Reed and Dalton Blake. To use one word to describe Dalton Blake, con man.
Wow, those are strong words, Mr. Jared. Extremely strong words. Do you have a reason why you would say that specifically?
Well, he just always seems to have money coming from everywhere. And I never really see him do anything to earn that money. So something tells me that dirty money isn't just a nickname.
Well, I would absolutely agree with you. See, we called him the Professor of Pain, the demented one, Dalton Blake, for a long period of time. And as he has progressed with Championship One Wrestling, and as he's moved forward, you can absolutely see that his dirty money is buying different things, such as with Christopher Battle. We saw him buy a set of enforcers, you could say, over the past couple weeks to take him out in several different episodes, which you can catch all that through the Championship One page. You can watch it on YouTube or also through Facebook. It's on both. So I would have to agree with you. But moving on a little bit, we have to talk about a big power couple in Championship One Wrestling currently, and that's Mama Hannah and the Rabid Reject Adrian Ace. Since losing that Mix 1041 championship, he seemed to have completely come unhinged a little more every day. And Mama Hannah is embracing that sadistic, violent side that we see of him constantly. So the question is, how do you stop the Rabid Reject currently?
I mean, if I knew the answer to that question, then I'd probably be telling the entire locker room, because that guy scares me. I'm not going to lie to you. He freaks me out. In the back, I mean, you just see him, and there's nothing behind the eyes. What do you do to stop the Rabid Reject? You're going to have to bring in somebody that's willing to be as sick, as demented, as brutal as the Rabid Reject. And that's not a lot of people. That's really not. And even if you do, you saw we had Brad Cash.
Very true.
One of the most acclaimed deathmatch wrestlers in Tennessee. Now, it wasn't a death match, so maybe that was the reason he didn't pick up the win. But, I mean, I don't know that he can be stopped, is the answer that I'll give you there.
I think you're referring to the 1-year anniversary show that you guys did with Mix 1041, being there at the Armory in Cleveland, Tennessee. And I believe that we saw at the end of that show, there was a foreign object that was entered into the ring, a.k.a. a metal spike, and it knocked Brad Cash off of his feet and knocked him out completely, to be honest. And I see where you're coming from with him being sadistic, being that violent person, having that there. And I think that Brad Cash deserves a rematch and deserves it the right way in a death match. That's my personal opinion. Now, it doesn't matter for anything, but what do you think, sir?
Oh, I mean, anybody that knows me knows that I am a huge fan of deathmatch wrestling. I would love to see that style brought to C1W, even if it's just for a single match. And I know that, I don't know if you know, but Brad Cash is currently on something of a retirement tour.
Yes, sir.
And to see him make another stop at C1W in that fashion, I think would be phenomenal. I think, if we're being completely honest, that the people did not get what they wanted to out of that match between Brad Cash and Adrian Ace. I don't think it's either one of those guys' faults. I just think that it was such a packed show, and a match like that, it deserves a stipulation, and it deserves room to breathe on its own. And so I would love that. I don't make those decisions, of course.
I don't either, but I would love to see it too, sir.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I would love that match. I might even step back behind the camera so I can have the privilege of recording it.
Wow. That's a big step, sir. That would be an awesome thing to do. And especially to have your name attributed to the titles on something like that, that would be extremely well. Mr. Jared, let's talk about where Championship One is located. We know that they're at 130 McDonald School Road in McDonald, Tennessee. Can you tell us how much it's going to cost to get in, what time the doors open, and what time the show starts each week?
Yes. So first of all, I will not be there this Saturday, as I'm still recovering from my attack. But that doesn't mean y'all should stay home. So 130 McDonald School Road, it's $8. Kids under 5 are always free. You can get there at 7 o'clock. The doors open. The show starts at 8. We usually have people lining up at 6:30. So if you want to get a good seat, get there at 6.
Excellent. Mr. Jared, are you booked anywhere else currently for any other shows? Are you going to be a part of anything else that's going to be happening in the Tennessee area, Georgia area, Kentucky area, all that, Alabama?
Well, unfortunately, due to my injury, I've had to take a hiatus from bookings, at least for a little bit. But I have had lots of shows that I have been involved with that have things going on. Forever Pro has a show coming up this Sunday at Sweet Melissa's Bar. It's a 21 and up show. TWE Chattanooga, they have night one of their 11-year strong show happening this Friday. Of course, this Saturday, C1W. If you're in the Knoxville area and you can't get down to Cleveland, Athens has Ego Pro coming up this Saturday as well. There is no shortage of wrestling right now. I think it's understated that especially in this area, we are really seeing a wrestling boom. I think broadly speaking, but especially here in the Southeast.
So I have a question for you about Ego Pro really quick, and we've got to decide which side you're on. Are you a Christopher Wright man or are you a Barry Allen man?
I am a Barry Allen guy through and through.
You believe in the product. You believe in everything that he's going through is right.
I believe in the mad scientist Barry Allen, and I believe that Christopher Wright is nothing but a pencil neck ambulance facing geek.
Yes, sir. I love it. I love it every time that this comes up. So I think that Wright and Wright, the lawyership that he's a part of, his own personal office that he comes out of, I think that they're just power hungry and they're trying to do anything they can to snuff Barry Allen out of Ego Pro. And I honestly don't think it's going to work because Barry Allen is such a mastermind of the wrestling business and the wrestling world. And I think it's going to be something great. Now, you also spoke of just a minute ago the show that's going to be taking place with Forever Pro at Sweet Melissa's. Do you know how much the tickets are going to be at Sweet Melissa's this week?
I believe that the tickets are going to be $10, and I will verify that as we speak. Thank you. Thanks to the benefit of modern technology. I want to say that it's 10, but I will check on that. Forever Pro Wrestling. Let us see. Yes, tickets $10. Bell time is 4 p.m.
Excellent. And that's going to be Sunday the 25th, correct?
Yes, Sunday's the 25th, Sweet Melissa's Billiards in Hickson, Tennessee. Again, tickets $10, bell time 4 p.m. Come out and see some of the hottest acts in the Southeast. You got Chris Crunk, you got Kevin Ryan. There's a whole host of people that are going to be appearing, and I don't think that anybody's going to want to miss that show, especially on a Sunday. Where else are you going to be?
Well, other than church, I don't think anybody has anything to do. So it'd be a great time for everybody to come out and see some good professional wrestling. Now, it is good to mention that this is going to be an adult-only show at Sweet Melissa's. Is that correct?
Yes, 21 and up. Unfortunately, there was no way to get around that. And of course, at Forever Pro, we love our young fans. But this is something for the older audience.
Excellent. Now, are there going to be any surprises that the fans need to know about this coming week at any of the shows that you know of?
Hey, man, if there's a surprise, I'm going to be the first one who's surprised. They don't tell me nothing.
Okay. Well, they don't tell me nothing either, but we just have to ask. We just got to try to find out. Now, Mr. Jared, we know that you're the chief editing officer, but you also have a lot of hats that you wear at Championship One Wrestling and also in the world of wrestling. we know that you have a current business that you're running as well. You like to make vignettes. You like to make, entrance videos. You like to make, highlight reels for different people. Can you tell us a little bit about that? How much you charge, where your starting rate comes from, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. This is something that I've been doing in wrestling at least since 2018. That was when I first started holding a camera and editing videos for wrestling shows. As far as what I do, you pretty much hit all of the points. Entrance videos, vignettes, highlight reels, full shows. I also can touch up images, but my rate starts at $20. What that comes from is I feel like, if it's going to be worth it for me to do the work, that's the least that I can get paid. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And what $20 will get you with me, a 2-minute highlight reel, it'll get you an entrance video with a picture, a custom text logo, and a background and song of your choice.
Well, let's talk about some of the people that you've worked for, such as, but not only including Juicy John Bishop, the Addams Family, and so many more. Tell us more about some of the people that you've worked with.
Yes. One of my favorite commissions was Mr. Jaden Newman of TWE. He had a new theme song made for him and needed a video to go along with that, and he reached out to me, which was an honor. I've made several videos, ironically, for Mr. Cameron Cox. Don't know that I will be anymore.
Right, especially after the attack.
Tank was one of the first ones I did for C1W that I'm very proud of. All the new faces that come into C1W, their first stop is getting me their music, their image, and an idea of what they want for their video.
And I have to say, Mr. Jared is very talented at what he does. We attend Championship One regularly. We attend that Kevin show regularly. And every time somebody comes out, you can see his handiwork on everything that's gone through Championship One Wrestling. And he's done such a wonderful job. The music fits the videos that go perfectly. And so we definitely want to give you a shout out, Mr. Jared. You do the best work inside the world of wrestling in this area. And we definitely want to get you some business if we can get you some business. So tell the people how they can contact you, how they can get a hold of you. And that way you can get that business rolling.
Absolutely. The best way to get a hold of me is through Facebook. Jared Boatfield is my name on Facebook. If you don't have Facebook, you can also reach me via email. That's eadsman03@gmail.com, EADSMAN03@gmail.com. Let's do some business. If you have something that you need made, or even if you just need a little bit of creative direction, holler at me and I will be more than happy to do a consultation.
Mr. Jared, we had two people come into the chat while we were talking about that. The first is AMJ. Mr. Gage Howard came in directly, and he said, the best video editor and Titantron maker is what he said. And then Rocky Shaw said, my right-hand man, presentation is key. So you've got a lot of things that are going for you in this business with the people. Mr. Rocky Shaw, especially from the River City Media Company.
Yes, and I really appreciate those kind words. I mean, I try to be a very humble person, and so I don't always know how to respond to that kind of praise. But it just makes me happy to know that I can contribute positively to the wrestling business, especially at this level. My philosophy when it comes to this video work is I want to make things that wouldn't look out of place if I saw them on TV. If I saw a WWE superstar come out to this video, would it look like it's shoddy or not up to the quality of the rest of the roster? Excuse me. Okay. And I say that, at least in my own opinion, I think that I do achieve that level of quality. And so that's what I want to keep doing. I want to bring TV level video production to the local wrestling scene here in the Southeast. Because quite frankly, the talent we have down here is good enough that they deserve it. They deserve that better presentation.
I absolutely agree with you. I think that with just a little bit of guidance, the River City Media Company directly and anybody else that's interested could actually be looking to host for television inside of our area. I mean, the talent we have is ridiculous. Jameson Shook, Chris Kronk, You mentioned just a few minutes ago, Mr. Jaden Newman. I mean, these are just a few. Dalton Blake, to say the least. I mean, we have a plethora of talent that could be TV ready in a matter of days if just the right things are applied. So, and I think that you're working the right direction with them to make sure that their interest videos, their vignettes, all their reels, all their highlights are shown in that manner. And you do such a great job that we definitely here at Wrestle Talk want to give you a shout out, Mr. Jared. Thank you for the hard work that you do in the world of wrestling for us, the viewers, for the fans, because at the end of the day, if they had a shoddy video, nobody would remember it, or they would remember it being bad. And you make it memorable in the opposite direction. You make it memorable in the good way for everybody. So thank you, sir.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. Obviously, I haven't been completely on my best game during this interview. My head is still ringing from the DDT, and my ribs are still aching from the senton that I got from TK. But my hands still work, and my eyes still work, so I can still pump out these videos. Just like I said, just to know that I'm making a positive impact with the work that I do in wrestling. I mean, it means everything. Wrestling to me is very sacred and very special. And to know that I can contribute to it, that makes me the happiest man in the world.
It makes all the difference in the world. And it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter if you come from behind a camera, or if you've just set up chairs, or if you're cleaning toilets for the arena. It doesn't matter. As long as you're doing something to better the world of wrestling every day, and you're trying to better yourself every day, you're making a difference. I do have to correct myself on something I said earlier. Rocky Shaw is partnering with River City Media, but he is the owner of 12 Gauge Uncut. So I made that mistake. That's my personal mistake. So I'm going to correct it. You're right here live on the air.
Come on, Joseph. Get your facts straight.
I got to get them straight, Mr. Jared. Well, Mr. Jared, I thank you for all the time that you spent with me today. I really appreciate you being here. And in the future, I'd love to have you come on if you have some time to do that. Unfortunately, we're all out of time for today. We're at the 27-minute marker. We're going on 30 minutes. Before I go, let the fans know one more time how to get a hold of you.
Yes, best way to get a hold of me is through Facebook. You can find me Jared Eads Boatfield on Facebook. I have a public profile. If you don't have Facebook, you can reach me via email at eadsman03@gmail.com. That's spelled EADSMAN 03. Make sure to come out to C1W this Saturday, 1:30 McDonald School Road. Doors open at 6. Doors open at 7. Bell time at 8. There, look at me making mistakes. Who doesn't have their facts straight now? There's a lot of really good wrestling going on right now. I mean, you can throw a paper airplane and you're probably going to land in a wrestling company that you're going to want to watch. So go out, enjoy the wrestling this weekend. I'm going to be at home nursing my head injury and my ribs. But you best believe that I'm going to be paying attention to social media and seeing all of the happenings going on around here. And Joseph, thank you so much for having me on. Was there any other questions for me before I hop off here?
No, sir. I think that's going to be enough for today. I appreciate you being here, sir. And before we go, I got to say, you guys heard it here first. And stick around with me just for 1 minute, Mr. Jared. I'm going to hit our intermission screen. So before we go, we always like to give you the opportunity to buy Wrestle Talk merchandise. We have that available for you. As you see, we have the polos, the hoodies, we have rain jackets, we have the baseball shirts that are available, and you can catch all that good merchandise at www.streamlabs.com/Arabbidb3aver, just like it's spelled right there in the green in the middle, /merch. Go ahead and do that for us. And that's how you help us keep this show, which is 100% viewer supported by viewers just like you. So thank you guys so much. And I hope to